Hello everybody, welcome to my painting tutorial channel Hina's Art, and today we are going to draw a grassy flower meadow on 12 by 16 pre-primed canvas. And in today's color palette, the colors are very basic, mostly into blues and greens. So yeah, we will have titanium white, sap green, indigo, cobalt blue hue, cadmium yellow, teal color, black, olive green and phthalo blue. Now I just gave it a rough sketch with the pencil for the basic idea where the mountain and where the horizon will be and where will be the trees and your grass field. So yeah, it's just a basic pencil rough sketch and doesn't require any proper sketching. Here are the colors that I have used for this painting, but yeah, we can add a little more colors for saturations and highlighting, but the color today we are going to use on display. Now with the flat brush I am actually giving a little moisture to the surface of the canvas just to dampen the surface so that it will be easily blend with the acrylics. I am mixing Pthalo blue, indigo and white just to give the color of the sky. Now with the same mix I added a little hint of Payne spray to give the better differentiation of the cloud shading. You can see the shadow part of the cloud, and I added more titanium white to the bright parts of the cloud. Now with color teal I added a little hint of white, and now I'm drawing the farthest most distant mountain, and the color will be a little bit similar to the sky color because it is the farthest one, and you can see the differentiation between three mountains. So the nearest one will be the darkest shade of the blue, where the farthest one will be similar to the sky. Here I added a little of phthalo blue with teal color, so that will give the second darkest shade of the mountain. And then I will highlight with a little hint of white and saffron. For the nearest mountain here, I think there are the uses of three colors here, okay, because I have used here indigo and your phthalo blue and little hint of Payne gray, but you can use Prussian blue also, because that is also a deepest shade, so that will differentiate. The shadow part will be darkest and your highlighted part will be little bit of hint of white and phthalo blue mix, so that will give you the nice shade of the Rocky Mountains, where the greens are there, where the grasses are there, so you can highlight it with white and saffron. For the grassland, I am actually mixing cadmium yellow with sap green, and I am covering the whole grass area with the same color. It will reflect the sunlight just as you go for the darkest part where the shadows of trees are there. Then I will use the olive green, but for the most of the part of this grassland, the meadow, I am using here cadmium yellow mixed with your sapling. The variation of the grassland will be mixing with first part where the sun rays are falling. That part will be the lightest of green, mixing cadmium yellow and green, sap green. Then I am directly using the sap green for the nearest to the dark shade, and then the shadow part of the grassland will be under olive green and Payne gray mix. Now with paint spray I am actually drawing the pine tree behind the house. The whole area will be covered in paint spray and olive green because that is the darkest shade. The sun rays are falling from the sky on the tree, so the highlights will come later. But I will cover the whole area of the vegetation in your paint spray and olive green mix, and that will be the darkest shade. Now as for the background vegetation, I am using here olive green for the right side of the tree, and all the rest of the plants and vegetation behind the bushes and everything is completely dark shade, so I used here paint spray. And for the right side tree also I used the paint spray, but little bit mix of olive green also for the shadow. Right part of the grassland, I added a little bit of more cadmium yellow just to give the brightness and the contrast of the grassland between the darkest shade and the lightest shade. And you have to give the contrast just because it is under sunlight, so all the grasses will be like shining with a bright yellowish and green color. The hue will be your cadmium yellow and green, but I added more cadmium yellow just to give the more contrast to the grassland. For the distance cottage house, I use titanium white and phthalo blue, and for the roof of the house, I use burnt sienna, a little hint of white, and burnt umber. With burn umber, I am drawing the chimney of the cottage, and the dark shadow part will be your burn umber, or you can use Payne's grey also, but the background is already in Payne's grey, so there will be no differentiation. So it will be better to use burnt umber, and then you should highlight it white and cross bordering with the shade, so it will reflect the chimney of glass. Now with a fan brush, I am actually using sap green and little bit of white mix, and then I'm highlighting the background trees, and later I will use cadmium yellow and white to highlight more prominent leaves on the pine tree and the background leaves, so it will reflect the sunlight also, plus it will give the more depth definition to the trees and the bushes background. draw the whole scenery part, I'm using here a small filbert brush, or you can use a small flat brush, and with titanium white and cadmium yellow mix, I am drawing the small flower plants and the grasses on the brightest part of the grassland. And since it is a focused scenery, that is from the darkest part to the horizon, the darkest part of the flowers will be continued with white, your phthalo blue mix, and a little bit of hint of your Prussian blue or violet or any color you mix. Different shades of colors you can use for the nearest flowering part. And with olive green and cadmium yellow, you please give the highlights and the shades of the grasses. Cadmium yellow and titanium white, I have just drew the nearest flowers under the shade, and the brighter part of the flowering area is under the sunny part of the grassland. So there are variation in the petals, okay, and variation in the color of white also. So the darkest part of the shade where the flowers are bloomed, I have used phthalo blue and violet and Prussian blue for the variation in whites of the petals. And those plants which are under the sunny part of the grassland, where the sun is falling on, the sun rays are falling on the grassland, you can use here their cadmium yellow, titanium white, or titanium white mixed with cadmium yellow. That will give you the brightest color. And since it is a focused scenery and your point of view is from the darkest part to the horizon of the painting, there will be only olive green and Payne's gray used for the shade area. There will be no black used here, because it will not give you that the natural look of the grassland. And if you like this kind of landscape painting, if you love this kind of tutorial video, just let me know in the comment section. I would love to know your ideas also. If you want to learn, and if you want to know, or if you want to learn the new techniques, brush strokes, or blending process, or any other tutorial videos, just like figurine paintings or abstract art, just let me know in the comment section too. I would love to upload those videos. I know I'm not consistent, but still I'm trying my best. This is a starting phase. If you love this kind of video tutorial on my channel, just give it a like to my video and subscribe to my channel and hit all the bell notification. It will give you a reminder whenever I am uploading my videos. And yeah, please stay and keep supporting the channel, as it means a lot to me. It will help and expand to reach each and every art lover who are seeking interest in this type of tutorial videos. Till then, I will meet you on your next video. Bye bye.